In this big talk, the incredible Wendy Christie talks about what it means to understand music and to let it live the life of your dreams. Enjoy this big talk with Speaker Salon alum, Wendy Christie.
When I was 16, I played and won the Kincaid Alexander Piano Concerto. This is Auckland's top competition for young pianists. I recall a wall of faces, and 2/3 of the way back I saw the adjudicator, who was lit up under the light of a desk lamp. I saw that she had horn-rimmed glasses, and her white hair fell softly onto her shoulders. Later that night, I saw her up close as she reached out her hand to me. We were under lights much like this. Little did I know that Professor Zellen Smith was about to become a great influence in my life. I became a private student. My practice schedule increased tenfold. Since the age of 10, I'd set the alarm clock at 6 o'clock and practice an hour before school. When I got home again, I practiced for another hour or two. By the time I was 18, I was practicing up to 4 to 6 hours every day. And for reasons that I can't fully explain, whether for stage fright or something else, that was the last time I ever performed on stage. There was a quote that I came across a wee bit later, and it goes like this: I wanted to play from the soul and not like a trained bird. I began to travel. I went to England, Cambridge in the UK, and it was there, 18,000 kilometres away from home, and staring out at the last of the winter snow, that I thought all those hours of work that I'd put in, for the first time I understood the music. It took that distance. I understood why Beethoven had put those harmonies together in ways that other composers hadn't done. I saw that the music of Bach, Beethoven, Chopin, Mozart and others wrote music in the 1700s at a time when technology enabled instruments to express music in ways that hadn't been possible before. Conservatoriums sprang up. And in the words of James Parakelis from Cornell University, the approach was for drill and repetition for a technically masterful result. And yet hearts were closed to the beauty of music. As I travelled, I came across Michelangelo's unfinished slaves at the Louvre Museum in Paris. These had a profound impact on me because I saw the impact of music, of the composers, as it intersected with the human soul. I saw the rebellious slave who was caught with a shackle around his chest. He was struggling to be free, and his face showed the struggle of his traumas. The dying slave was caught in a dreamlike state somewhere between life and death. And I saw the blows of Michelangelo's chisel, as in his words, he wanted to set the angel free out of the marble. And I saw a parallel with the use of words, which can be used to build up, to shape the human soul, or to bring harm. There is a message for teachers and mentors to realize the impact of words, not just those that are spoken, but those that are unspoken, those ones that are caught under the layers of human suffering, setback, frustration, where human expression comes out where it can't be found except in violence. When human expression reveals itself in actions of violence, wars result. Seeing and understanding the relevance and power of music to access the deepest parts, the full range of human expression, I saw that music did not have to be complex for it to speak. Let me explain. I moved into education after that, but found a managerial model that was unresponsive to the inner worlds of children. I became an after-school caregiver and found the children unresponsive. They were violent. They threw missiles. They broke windows. One of the children had been severely abused at the age of 2. The social welfare department knew of him. They said he was dangerous even, but they were unable to help. One day the child reached around me into the drawer and pulled out a carving knife. He held it to my jaw. It's not the knife that I remember. What I remember, as I stared into his eyes, was thinking of Michelangelo's slaves. Sometimes words are not enough to express the deepest of emotions. By now I had begun to see the essence of music occurring not just in the great works, but in single moments. These moments happen to an audience between notes, in relationships of notes and phrases to one another. Beethoven's Appassionata Sonata is an example of these moments, rising chromatic steps and cascading thirds that resemble the tumult of human emotion. And yet the essence of music in even more distilled form. Since the beginning of time, a universal communicator is the sound of bells. I brought into the room a few days later some concert-tuned bells and played a short excerpt from the Mozart piano concerto I had played as a 16-year-old. La 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 la. For the first time, the children stopped building their guns. They looked up. The magic of music had reached them. Education systems are founded on striving for performance and individual acclaim to advance in a competitive marketplace. I recall something Professor Alan Smith said to me. The magic of music to touch people is much more important than one's own acclaim. Professor Alan Smith, you were right.
If you enjoyed this big talk, I would love to hear what your biggest takeaways were in the comments so we can fully support you. And if you desire to be on my big stage, head on over to thespeakersalon.com so that you can apply to come to New York City and take my stage where I will support you for 6 weeks. And remember, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, go ahead and hit the notification and subscription button so that you get access to all of our recent videos. Remember, your voice matters. Big love. Mwah.